Rick Lagina has spent more than 20 years on Oak Island. He has walked every inch of that ground. He has stood in every shaft, waited for every lab result, listened to every expert, and carried the weight of a mystery that most people in his position would have abandoned a decade ago. And tonight, Season 13, Episode 22 of The Curse of Oak Island, something came out of the ground that made Rick Lagina look beyond the island for the first time. Not toward a library, not toward a researcher with a map, toward an ocean, toward the route the builders took to get there, toward the answer that has been sitting 2,000 miles away the entire time. Welcome back. This is the breakdown for Season 13, Episode 22, Road Trip. The official summary: new revelations are made about the sand and stone road in the swamp, as a discovery in the money pit suggests that answers to the Oak Island mystery may be found over 2,000 miles away. Tonight Rick Lagina is chasing the truth beyond Oak Island, and what sent him there is sitting at the bottom of the deepest shaft this team has ever drilled. I am going to cover 3 things in this video: what the swamp revealed, what the money pit delivered, and the thing I am saving for the back half of this video because it is the most important context you will hear anywhere today. Why the specific destination 2,000 miles away is not a guess. It is the inevitable conclusion of every verified piece of evidence Season 13 has produced. Stay with me all the way through. The payoff is worth it. And right now, before we go a single step further, if you are not subscribed to this channel, this is your moment. We cover every Oak Island episode with a full evidence breakdown. No padding, no recycled theories. Every date sourced from a real lab. Every connection backed by a documented historical record. Tap subscribe, tap the bell. New breakdown goes live every week without fail. You want to be here for what is coming in the final stretch of Season 13. Let's begin where the episode begins, in the swamp. Because the road in the Oak Island swamp is not just the most physically impressive piece of evidence Season 13 has produced. It is the oldest, and the new revelations about it in Episode 22 are what give the money pit discovery its full context. The cobblestone road running through the Oak Island swamp was not laid by colonists or 19th century treasure hunters. It is a deliberate, engineered causeway built through what the evidence confirms is an artificially created bog, flooded on purpose to conceal the construction beneath and around it. And Season 13 has produced the most specific dating evidence for this road in the entire history of the investigation. Leather shoe fragments recovered from deep within the swamp's peat layer, featuring hobnail holes consistent with early European military footwear, rather than stitched construction, returned a primary carbon-14 date range of 1148 to 1216 AD. That leather is potentially over 800 years old. Professor Adriano Gaspani applied his peer-reviewed stellar alignment methodology, the same technique that dated Nolan's Cross to approximately 1217 AD, to the octagonal survey stakes lining the road. His finding: the stakes share stellar alignments with Nolan's Cross consistent with a 13th century construction date. The same builders, the same era. Around the year 1200. And then in Episode 20, Rick Lagina found something on that road that nobody had found in the entire history of the investigation. Paired survey stakes. A 5-sided marker and an 8-sided marker set together. Both shapes, side by side for the first time ever. He found a second identical pairing nearby, paced 21 feet between them, predicted a third at the exact same interval, and walked straight to it. A geometric survey system. Precise. Intentional. Placed 8 centuries ago by people who understood mathematics and astronomy and construction at a level that would have been extraordinary even by the standards of medieval Europe. Episode 22 delivers new revelations about that road. What those revelations are, whether they concern the road's full extent, its terminus, its geometric relationship to other island features, or physical evidence of who built it, the official summary does not specify. But the fact that the road revelations and the money pit discovery are presented in the same episode summary tells you something crucial. They are connected. Whatever the road revealed tonight is connected to whatever came out of the money pit, and together, they sent the investigation 2,000 miles away. This right here, before we even get to the money pit, is why this channel is the place to follow Season 13. The road, the leather, the stakes, the stellar alignment, the geometry, all of it sourced, verified, connected. This is the context that makes the 2,000-mile lead make sense. If you have been getting this level of breakdown every week, and you are still not not subscribed. I genuinely want to fix that. Tap subscribe right now. You will not find a more thorough Oak Island breakdown anywhere on this platform. Now the money pit, because what came out of the Peacock Zone tonight is the most consequential drilling result in Season 13. Let me give you the drilling picture first. The Season 13 Money Pit campaign was the most ambitious in the show's history. 3 7-foot diameter caisson shafts sunk to depths exceeding 210 feet. A 135-ton telescoping drill rig, brought in by Rock Equipment and Solitanche Bakey, Canada. The deepest excavation ever attempted on Oak Island, 212 feet in the Karma 1 caisson. The first 2 shafts, including TPF-1, which seized at just 25 feet before being relocated, yielded 17th and 18th century artifacts but no valuables. The team then shifted to the Peacock, the zone 40 feet northeast named by Marty Lagina, where Dr. Ian Spooner and Dr. Krista Michael had for years detected gold and silver traces in underground water. In the Peacock zone, core drilling revealed a 10-foot void at 150 feet. An underwater camera deployed into that void captured images of possible man-made metallic objects. Not a geological cavity, not collapsed backfill, a cavity containing what appears to be man-made metal. At 150 feet, in the zone where gold and silver have been detected for years. The third shaft, Peacock 1, was excavated with Terry Matheson confirming bedrock at 211 feet, the solution channel extending upward to roughly 165 feet. What it recovered at depth included sinking wood, iron, and chain from depths no previous searcher had reached. And now, in episode 22, a specific discovery from that zone. Something the team examined, something that the scientific experts analyzed, something specific enough in its composition, its origin characteristics, or its physical properties to point the investigation 2,000 miles from Nova Scotia. Here is what I want you to think about. The Peacock Void is 150 feet underground. Whatever is inside it has been there for a very long time, long enough that the wood recovered from the same zone in a previous season was laboratory tested and found to be consistent with trees native to the Azores Islands of Portugal. Not Nova Scotian timber, not North American wood species, Azorean material, inside the money pit. Having arrived there with whoever built the shaft centuries ago, that finding was documented and noted, but it was not connected to an active investigative thread until Season 13 began building the full Portuguese Templar case. And tonight, the Peacock Zone delivered the connection that sends the investigation to find its source. Hold on to that Azorean wood detail because I am going to come back to it in the section that explains exactly where 2,000 miles leads, and why Rick Lagina specifically is the one chasing it. But first, quick check. Is this the most detailed Oak Island breakdown you have watched this week? If yes, there is a very easy way to make sure you see every one going forward. Subscribe right now. Tap the bell. Every Tuesday night when the show airs, the breakdown goes up. You will never follow Season 13 without context again. Now let's talk about Rick Lagina personally, because the title of this video is not just a description of where the investigation is going. It is a description of who this man is and what he has always been doing. Rick read about Oak Island at 11 years old in a Reader's Digest article from January 1965. He was a child in Kingsford, Michigan, reading about an island in Nova Scotia where someone had buried something extraordinary in a shaft so well engineered that 2 centuries of excavation had failed to reach it. And that story never left him. He carried it through decades of ordinary life, through a career as a postal worker, through raising a family, through everything that should have pushed the childhood obsession into the background. It never went to the background. It was always there. Rick has said in multiple seasons of this show that he does not believe the significance of what is buried on Oak Island is primarily monetary. He believes it is sacred. He believes whoever put it there considered it important enough to cross an ocean and spend months constructing the most sophisticated concealment system the pre-industrial world ever produced. And he has never stopped believing that. Not when shafts flooded, not when drills seized, not when season after season produced evidence, but not the final answer. Tonight, in Season 13 Episode 22, something from the deepest active drilling zone on the island told Rick Lagina that the answer to the question has been carrying since 1965 is 2,000 miles away, and Rick Lagina is going to go get it. That is not a television moment. That is the culmination of 60 years of carrying a question that most people would have put down a long time ago. And the evidence that sent him there is not a hunch or a theory. It is a specific, scientifically traceable, laboratory-confirmed lead pointing across the Atlantic to the organization that has threaded through Season 13 from its first episode to tonight. Here is the full chain. Because understanding why 2,000 miles is the only possible destination requires seeing every link and sequence. The swamp construction dates to 1148 to 1216 AD based on carbon-14 testing. The octagonal stakes in Nolan's Cross share stellar alignments consistent with 1200 to 1300 AD based on Guespini's peer-reviewed work. The three St. Radegonde churches in the Toulon region of France, traced by researcher Charlotte Wheatley after 4 years studying the Halpern map inscription, are all aligned at 292 degrees, all bearing the 4-Templar cross, all pointing across the Atlantic directly to Oak Island, all built in the 12th or 13th century. The Hoe stone found on Oak Island in 1921 bears the same 4-cross. The transatlantic axis is not theoretical. It is geometric. It is measurable. It is confirmed from both ends. The Lot 8 stone platform beneath the 40,000-pound boulder is dated to post-1200s through pre-1800s based on mortar analysis by Emma Culligan and Dr. Spooner. The blue-gray clay binding the stones is the same composition as the blue clay in the original money pit, at Lot 5 and at Nolan's Cross. One material, multiple sites, one construction program. The fire-setting chemistry beneath the boulder, lead at 140 parts per million versus 12 elsewhere, confirms a medieval underground construction technique used to drive shafts by the same Templar connected engineering tradition, documented at sites across France and Portugal. The 6th Roman coin on Lot 5, confirmed by Emma Culligan as Claudius II, minted 250 to 270 AD, with elemental composition matching trace metals in the money pit's solution channel water. The drill rod fragment at 174 to 178 feet linking the 2026 drilling operation to the 1849 Truro Company dig when James Pitt Blotto reportedly concealed a 14th century Portuguese coin from his colleagues. A 14th century Portuguese coin from a Portuguese connection, and the money pit in 1849, and the drill rod that confirms that event is still in the ground today. The sacred symbol from the money pit's peacock zone in episode 21. The peacock shaft material in episode 22 pointing 2,000 miles across the Atlantic. Every single thread, carbon-14 leather, stellar alignment, mortar chemistry, elemental matching, isotopy tracing, drill rod correlation, sacred symbol, all of it running east across the ocean, all of it pointing toward Portugal, all of it pointing through the Azores. The Military Order of Christ, the Portuguese successor to the Knights Templar after 1312, had its headquarters at Tomar. Prince Henry the Navigator, Grand Master of the Order, funded the colonization of the Azores and the systematic mapping of the Atlantic. The cross on Vasco da Gama's sails was the Order of Christ cross, the same cross tradition, the same organization, and wood recovered from the money pit in a previous season, laboratory tested and confirmed, consistent with Azorian tree species. Sitting at depth inside the shaft, the season 13 campaign just reached for the first time. 2,000 miles is not a direction, it is an address. And Rick Lagina, who has been walking toward it since he was 11 years old, is going there tonight to find what the evidence promises. Drop a comment right now. Where do you think this road trip leads? What do you think the peacock zone material was that pointed 2,000 miles away? The best comments get featured in the episode 23 Island Hopping Breakdown, which drops next week, and is going to be the most significant episode recap this channel has ever posted. I want to say something before the final takeaway. Season 13 of The Curse of Oak Island is not like any previous season. Not Season 11 with its garden shaft breakthrough. Not Season 12 with the multi-trip. Not any season before this one. Season 13 has produced a sustained, systematic, scientifically grounded chain of evidence, each link verified by a laboratory or a peer-reviewed publication, that has built toward a single coherent conclusion across 22 weeks. The builders came from medieval Europe. They came through the Portuguese Templar tradition. They came through the Azores, and what they buried on Oak Island was important enough to bring across an ocean and seal under a 40,000-pound boulder. Tonight, Rick Lagina is chasing that truth beyond the island. The road trip is not a detour. It is the destination the evidence was always pointing toward. And the final stretch of Season 13 is going to deliver what 22 episodes of verified science earned. Subscribe now and tap the bell so you are here the moment the episode 23 Island Hopping Breakdown goes live. Rick is going to the Azores next week, and what he finds there is going to make everything you have watched in Season 13 land with its full weight. Rick Lagina has been chasing this truth for 60 years. Tonight he finally knows exactly where it is.